What's up, everybody? It's the Alex Leak and Friends NFL podcast, back for another week. I'm your host, Alex Leak. This is the 2020 Week 12 recap. I got Dustin on the show. Dustin, good to have you back on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And I got Bret back on the show. Bret, good to have you on as always.
Yeah, nice being on.
All right, let's get into this thing because we all got a lot to say. It was an impactful week in the NFL. A lot of narratives, a lot of crazy stuff going on. So let's get into it. Thanksgiving, the first game, the Lions always playing Thanksgiving at 12:30. Texans, Lions. The Texans jump out to a 23-14 halftime lead and pull away in the second half for a 41-25 win. Turnovers seem to cost the Lions, especially in the first half. 3 turnovers, a pick six for J.J. Watt. And then the Lions ownership clearly unhappy and fire both GM Bob Quinn and head coach Matt Patricia on Friday, bringing an end to the Patriot way in Detroit. Bret, you're a Lions fan. You've been watching this team for a while. How do you feel about the reaction by the Lions to pretty much clean house at the in the GM head coach position?
Well, I think it's something that's been a long time coming.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it was going to be based on whether they performed or not. If they, like we talked about a couple of weeks ago, they had a chance to overcome. They made it to the playoffs and got a win. It was something that we could see them stay in, but we knew that if this continued, the flow of not being consistent, and now we're a few games under 500. I think it's the city of Detroit is definitely rejoicing. They're pretty happy. The state of Michigan just feels that way.
Yeah.
Something that I think it's something that's positive.
Well, you guys are similar to what my Bears are going through. It's missed opportunities. The Lions had 2 opportunities this year to get back to 500 after a really bad start, starting 0-3. They had 2 opportunities to get back to 500 and couldn't do it. And then the performance. Do you think the performance against the Texans on Thanksgiving on national TV was the nail in the coffin?
Yeah, I mean, it had to be. And it was lining up that way. If they had to not come out and take a dump against Carolina like they did, and they did. Mm-hmm. If they would have bounced back in that game, this game would have been much bigger. But it still might have even been the end of it, pending what's going to happen. They would have been a game out of the playoffs, even though it's looking kind of ridiculous in the NFC. But still, the point is they're not up to par as far as what the expectations are, and I think it maybe extended a little longer than it should have. They got an extra chance, and they couldn't pull through.
Were you in favor of that extra chance, or do you think they should have been fired at the end of last year?
I think you get 3 years to develop players usually, or develop your system your way. I don't think it's any different, like whether it's from players or a system. In college, you want to be able to get your players in there in 3 years. So they had it. This is the year where if whatever they've been implementing the past couple seasons all had to come together, and if they couldn't get it all to come together, then, obviously this is the scenario. So I think it's the right decision to let them stay, because it's hard to restart so quickly. But it was a couple years, didn't work out. Maybe everything came together this year, and it just didn't.
With it appears they're going to be going in a new direction. Are you in favor of? Do you want to keep Matthew Stafford for the next regime, or do you want to completely start over?
I mean, he's a quarterback that's been reliable. It's having the personnel has been there. It's just the coaching. It seems like having the bottom half of the defense for the years that he's been there, and only like 400-yard rushers in that time.
Yep.
It's difficult for anybody to be successful there. If there can be something that can be brought in with him under the wing there, I don't think it's necessary to restart everywhere as long as he's going to sign there for a while and it's going to be something that can be built. But he can still, if it's something that can be a quick turnover too, why go to somebody that you aren't sure about when he's been there for so long. He's got experience.
Yeah, and I think if you look at his history, you give Matthew Stafford a top 5 defense, which is I think the direction they should go. You give him a top 5 defense, and he can get a team to the playoffs. He'll do his job.
Right. And
so, a question to you. We're going to ask Dustin this one because, Dustin, you posted this on Facebook. After the firings, and I believe it was Saturday, you posted this. You said, look for Jim Harbaugh to be the next head coach of the Lions. You were calling that. Why do you think that, and do you think it makes sense and is a good fit?
Yeah, the reason why I said that is, for one, I think his time at Michigan is coming to an end.
Mm-hmm.
And for two, he's a Michigan guy. I mean, he went to college at Michigan and loves the state. I've even heard him say that in the interviews. And Jim Harbaugh is just, like I said, an overall Michigan guy. And I do think he'll be the fit because, let's be honest, he's an NFL coach. He just can't coach in college. And I think if he can have somebody as legit as Matthew Stafford, he'll be fine.
Yeah, I do think give Jim Harbaugh, Matthew Stafford, that could be a good fit. Now back to you, Bret. The top targets for the Lions, who do you want to be the next head coach? Here are the top targets. 49ers defensive coordinator Robert Saleh, Chiefs offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy, or, like Dustin said, Michigan head coach Jim Harbaugh. I know you're a Michigan fan as well. Who would you be interested in most, and would you be into the possibility of Harbaugh taking over in Detroit?
Well, I think the big word right now is Bieniemy.
Yep.
Being there, the talk up here seems to be that, not just what I see on social media, but just things just from around town. It's something that, it could be, it has that firepower, that coaching firepower, that difference that gives a spark to a team that hasn't had such a good culture there apparently for quite a few years, and needs something like that. So it'll be nice if we can get something in there that's going to be efficient but quick as well. But as far as Harbaugh, it's true. He doesn't – it's not necessarily developing players as being his strong point. He had a pretty good team already when he went there to Stanford, Michigan. It wasn't too bad.
49ers was pretty good too. Yeah.
And I mean, obviously he went there and he didn't have to develop that. He took them, through the playoffs to the Super Bowl. So having hit Stafford with Harbaugh, I think is good because he can't find his quarterback at Michigan. He won't need to find a quarterback if he goes to Detroit.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's an interesting, possibility there. Now,
I have one more thing. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're good.
Also, look for more of the NFL tends to go for a younger culture, so I say look for more of like a Lincoln Riley or someone of that caliber. Yeah.
Yep. He's definitely on a lot of teams' radars as well.
Lincoln or Darrell Bevel.
Yep. Now, for the Texans, Deshaun Watson has been completely on fire. In his last 6 games, he has a 71% completion rate, 16 total touchdowns, and 0 turnovers. He's been completely on fire, but the team sits at 4-7. And he said when Will Fuller was being discussed in a trade to Green Bay, he's like, thank God he didn't get moved because that would be hell. Well, welcome to hell, Deshaun Watson, because both Will Fuller and corner Bradley Roby have been suspended 6 games for PEDs. So it's not getting any easier in Houston for Deshaun Watson.
Yikes.
Yep. Bret, Lions play at the Bears in Week 13. Both teams suck. Who's winning this one?
He came straight out and said that shit.
We're honest on this podcast.
Well, you ain't right. I would say, I mean, I don't know, man. The Lions they got to do something. We can't lose to Chicago twice, and we should have beat you guys the first time. And I mean, not that changes anything. There could have been a lot of different things that happened in the game, but I don't know. I think it's a close one again. It's like 20-23 or something like that, 20-17.
Yeah, and Mitch Trubisky starting again too, so you get Trubisky both times.
Get Trubisky out of there.
Hey, if I were you, I'd want to play Nick Foles. That dude's a statue back there. Yeah, get him out of there.
Dumpster juice.
All right, let's move on to the second Thanksgiving game. Washington against the Cowboys. Washington leads 17-13 at halftime, but blows the Cowboys out in the second half for an easy 41-16 win. Washington sweeps the Cowboys for the first time since 2012. Dustin, what were your thoughts? I mean, I don't know. What do you make of this division? I know the Cowboys are down Dak, but I think most people thought they'd find a way to win this one and still be in the hunt to win this division. A bad loss for the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. What was your thoughts watching that game, Dustin?
Yeah, after the game, I knew this question was going to rise on the podcast, man. To be honest, I don't know what to think of this division. It's back and forth. It's up in the air. I mean, it's just a totally embarrassing division, I have to be honest.
And then what's your thoughts on Mike McCarthy? He seems to shoot his team in the foot week after week after week, trailing 17-13 in the third. Head coach Mike McCarthy calls for a fake punt on 4th and 10 from his own 24-yard line. Doesn't pick it up, wasn't even close, and it was their second turnover on downs of the game. Dustin, what's Mike McCarthy doing? And should the Cowboys, I mean, I know they just hired him, but if I'm a Cowboys fan, I'm already calling for Mike McCarthy's job.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like to me he's really lost it. I mean, we've seen in Green Bay towards the end the players really didn't like him that well, and he just I really can't say, man. I don't know. I want to hear your opinion on it. What do you think?
I don't like him. I don't know what he's doing. I know he's doing the analytics stuff and being super aggressive, but there's a time and place to be super aggressive, and that's not it. From your own 24-yard line, that ain't it. Not only has Mike McCarthy not been getting it done, but Zeke Elliott has been fumbling a lot. Just 39 combined yards in this game. And Bret, Washington rookie running back Antonio Gibson goes for 136 yards and 3 touchdowns. He's got a little bit of a future star potential in him. Have you seen Antonio Gibson, and what do you think of him?
Not too much, but I did notice the game, the blowout that had occurred, obviously, on Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. So I went and looked, and I wanted to see who did what in that game because, like you guys have talked about, it's been a very miserable division and football to watch. So
yeah,
he had it was like 20-something rushes, over 100 yards, 3 touchdowns, came through. And it was his time, I guess. He got his chance to go out there and make something for himself and do what he needed to do for his team, and he took advantage of it. With scoring more than the whole Cowboys combined. It was a pretty good game for him there against a rival opponent there in the division.
Yeah, and on national TV, couldn't have picked a better time to do it.
Right.
So yeah, the NFC East very much wide open. Big win for Washington. The Cowboys take a step back. So we'll see. We'll revisit that game, I'm sure, towards the end of the year, figuring out who's going to make the playoffs, who's going to win that division. Let's go to Sunday. Raiders Falcons. The complete opposite of what I thought was going to happen here. A 43-6 beatdown of Atlanta over the Vegas Raiders. 5 Raider turnovers, 4 of them by Derek Carr. After nearly sweeping the Chiefs a week ago, they just fall flat and lose to a bad Falcons team. Dustin, at 6-5, the Raiders, I'm sure their fans had higher expectations than this. Do you think the Raiders can still make the playoffs or will?
I think it's going to be a 50-50 now because, I mean, they still got Indianapolis, but I'm just biased on that point. But, I mean, that was a heartbreaking loss, and I think they were hungover from that loss because, I mean, you have to go in there and beat the number 1 team in your division. So, I can see them getting in maybe at 9-7.
Yeah, and they have been playing better this year, but just, this is one of those games that you can't lose if you're trying to make the playoffs. And I remember doing the Raiders season preview with Tito, who's a big Raiders fan, and I said I was like 9-7 is my prediction. He didn't like it. He wanted me to say 10-6 or 11-5. I was like, they got to prove it to me, and a loss like this goes along with what I was kind of thinking. So hopefully they can bounce back. Bret, Chargers, Bills. The Bills jump out to a 24-6 lead and hang on to win 27-17. The Bills are seeking their first division championship since 1995. They look pretty damn good. Are you believing in this Bills team, and you think they can go to the playoffs and even, if they got home field, maybe get a win?
This is a sleeper team in the AFC.
Yeah.
This is a team that is very scary. Their defense is very good. Their offense clicks at times, and it doesn't need to do a lot because this defense is there and it's powerful. They're gonna win. This team doesn't get as much recognition as I think they should, and they're gonna be a tough out in the AFC. It's not gonna be easy for the Titans to just go in there or whoever we have coming out, the Browns, Chiefs, whatnot. But it's something that whoever they're gonna have to play, either the Steelers, Ravens, Colts, whatever, it's not gonna be a Bills team that everybody's seen or expected over the past decade or two.
Yeah,
and it's surprising.
And they were a crazy Deshaun Watson comeback away from beating the Texans in the playoffs last year. So maybe they learn from that and get a win. And you talk about Bills-Browns. I would love to see that. That's a throwback playoff matchup there. That would time travel us back to the early 90s.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Well, if somebody's got to win it too, move on to the next round. That'd be nice to see one of them go on.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go to Giants-Bengals. The Giants survive an injury to Daniel Jones, hamstring, and hang on to beat the Bengals 19-17. Game-winning strip sack by Jabal Sheard. Giants improve to 4-7 and take the division lead with the tiebreaker over Washington. If you remember, they swept Washington this year, so they've got that tiebreaker and certainly sitting in first place right now. Dustin, the Giants are in the driver's seat to win the division. You think they can finish the job?
I don't, because Daniel Jones being out is going to be a huge replacement. I mean, Colt McCoy's not bad, but he's not Daniel Jones. So
well, a little bit on that. It's the hamstring injury is not serious, and he is expected back next week. So he dodged a bullet as far as the injury goes.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, if he's expected back next week, then they have a shot. I would pick them, but I mean, it's probably going to come down to them in Washington. So that one's up in the air. I'm not going to make a pick. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and with that sweep, with 2 wins over Washington, if it comes down to them two and they tie, it goes to the Giants. So good on the Giants for taking care of Washington, and they're in a good spot. So we'll see what happens. Let's go Titans, Colts. This is your time to shine, Dustin. The Titans jump out to a 35-14 halftime lead and eventually win 45-26. The Colts defense that was, highly ranked, allows Derrick Henry to go for 178 yards and 3 touchdowns all in the first half. And the Titans, man, they're scary because it's not only Derrick Henry, but A.J. Brown with 2 touchdowns, a 69-yard touchdown catch. And then how about that 42-yard onside kick return for a touchdown? Give me a little bit of what you were thinking watching that game and dealing with those 2 massive weapons.
Yeah, man. Well, where do I start? First of all, I am disappointed in the Indianapolis defense. I know Derrick Henry does that to everybody, but you still have to make adjustments and try to stop him.
Yep.
Secondly, I did not like the way that they kept Phillip Rivers in the game knowing he had a broken toe or whatever it was. Give Bret in there a chance to make plays, be able to extend plays, run the ball, and you have a good chance of winning. And A.J. Brown just went beast mode, man. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I agree. I think Brissett gives them more versatility, and they need to get more out of the rushing game, at least in that game. But I don't think the Colts are a bad team. I think there's a bad loss, but they can bounce back from it. They're a good team. I just think the Titans, I mean, they were in the AFC Championship game last year for a reason, and with the continued development of A.J. Brown, he's looking like a stud. Bret.
How do you stop Derrick Henry, though?
You put 8 in the box, and you have to stop 8 or 9 in the box, and you have to stop him before he gets a head of steam. He's like a train. You give him momentum going downfield, and he's tough to stop. And the thing about it is that you get Derrick Henry going, and then the play action off of it with Ryan Tannehill, who's a very accurate passer, and he's got the ability to run as well. The play action rollout and stuff like that, it makes them very difficult to defend. They're an old school type feel of a team that plays good defense, runs the ball, and has success off of play action. So I think their style of play translates to the playoffs, and they're going to be tough to beat. We might see a Titans-Chiefs rematch at some point. Bret, have you ever seen – when's the last time you've seen an onside kick return for a touchdown? A.J. Brown is such an athlete, man.
Yeah, it's not usual. Typically everybody's right there, so you go through and you get it's usually you get popped right away or you drop down to the ground, the play's over.
Yeah.
But that's just a play that you got to make for your team, and he made it. And doing that separated themselves, within the division where they wanted to be.
Yeah. And I'll say this. I think there's 2 teams. There's only 2 teams in the AFC good enough to dethrone the Chiefs. That is the Pittsburgh Steelers, of course, because of their defense and Big Ben and Chase Claypool and those guys. But the team that I trust more, honestly, than even the Steelers is these Titans. These Titans were close in the AFC Championship game last year. They were a player or 2 away, and I think they could do it. They beat the Chiefs in the regular season last year. So that's a matchup to keep an eye on. And the Titans and Chiefs have a little bit of playoff history going back to a bit, if you remember, like an 18-point blown lead when Matt Nagy was there. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes. Dustin, do you still have the Colts making the playoffs?
I do. I mean, it's going to be tough because we still got a very, very hot Deshaun Watson left.
Mm-hmm.
2 games in a row. We got to go to Vegas and Pittsburgh still. So, I mean,
yeah.
It's going to be a tough road. But if the defense can play how the defense has been playing all season, we'll be fine. But giving up 35 points in the first half is just absolutely garbage.
Yeah, that ain't it. And trust me,
sorry, I had to raise my voice right there because that pissed me off.
No, I know what you're saying. Like, nothing's more infuriating than seeing your defense give up big play after big play. My Bears did it, the Lions did it, and your Colts did it. So we're all pissed off this week.
I mean, granted, we did have a couple stars out. Danico Autry and DeForest Buckner and Jonathan Taylor and all them did not play.
Yeah.
Next man up.
What was that?
Next man up.
Yep. Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, I think Indy's in the best position, so I think they'll bounce back of all of our teams. So we'll see.
Say that to the Lions, next man up.
Say that to the Bears, too. Let's go Browns-Jags, where the Browns survive a hard-fought back-and-forth game against Jacksonville. They stop a 2-point conversion attempt late and run out the clock to win 27-25, their 8th win of the season, and that's the first time that they've got 8 wins in a season since 2007. So they're celebrating in Cleveland, trying to make the playoffs. When I saw that the Jags were starting quarterback Mike Glennon, I posted it and said automatic loss because I'm not a Mike Glennon fan at all. He surprised me and played pretty well, 2 touchdowns, no turnovers. Better than Jake Luton, but still not any good. Bret, the Browns, 8-3. I did not see this coming. I mean, I thought they'd be good, but 8-3 is pretty damn good. But now they've got a true test coming up. The next 2 weeks are at the Titans and versus the Ravens. And after an 8-3 start, do you see this Browns team making the playoffs?
Well, of course. How can you not? Look at how they're playing. You know, they're still, you know, they're just a couple games away from securing a playoff spot. Yeah, they got to come out. They got true tests coming up here, but I think that they take care of one of them. You know, it's probably more important. Obviously, they're both going to be important games, but taking care of the opponent, you know, the division opponent, the Ravens, is something that should be at the top of their minds. But you got that first week, you got that first game against the Titans. That's what you got to focus on. And if you want to prove your 8-3 record, this is one that you got to win.
Yeah, and the thing is, I mean, I agree. I think the at Titans is pretty much an automatic loss. I mean, I know they got a good defense, and Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt are dynamic as hell. I think the Titans win that. But the thing about the Ravens is a very much a prove-it game for Cleveland because they haven't even been competitive against this Ravens team. The Ravens and Steelers, the Browns can be all the momentum in the world. They go up against the Ravens or the Steelers and they get blown out. 38-6 when they played the Ravens earlier this year, and 38-7 against the Steelers. So, you know, they play both those teams once more remaining. Look at their schedule. Right, they're 8-3 right now. At Titans, I got a loss, so 8-4. Versus Ravens on Monday Night Football, I'm sorry, but I got another loss, 8-5. At Giants, who are playing hard and contending for the division, that's a losable game. At Jets, that's a win. Versus Steelers, I could see the Browns going 9-7. So, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it finishes. The Browns got to prove it to me, though.
We'll see.
Yep. Let's go Panthers-Vikings. Panthers jump out to a 21-10 lead behind back-to-back fumbles returned for a touchdown by rookie safety Jeremy Chin, who happens to be the nephew of Hall of Fame safety Steve Atwater. So a great game for him. You don't see that too often, back-to-back fumbles returned for touchdowns. Great game. The Panthers had an opportunity to put this game away. A muffed punt by wide receiver Chad Beebe is recovered by Carolina in the red zone, but unable to score a touchdown. They get a field goal, which makes it a 6-point game, and Kirk Cousins goes down the field and has the clutch game-winning touchdown pass. And then Joey Sly misses a 54-yarder as time expires. Big win for the Vikings to keep their playoff hopes alive. They improved to 5-6, second place in the NFC North. Bret, you know the division well. Sitting at 5-6, the Vikings, if they get hot, maybe they can sneak in. That division's not very tough right now.
Yeah, the second in that division. That's like, I don't know. That's not saying very much.
Like a participation trophy.
There's a poor man's award there.
Do you think they can get into the playoffs? Like, who knows? Maybe they get hot. You would agree, I think, with this. They're a talented roster, more so on the offense and the defense, but they're talented. You know?
They're right there. I mean, what seven teams make the playoffs, right?
Yeah, maybe 8. Most likely 7. Yes.
Well, most likely.
Yeah, 8 if COVID keeps messing everything up and they can't finish the season, but it's going to be 7. We've gotten this far.
They're sitting right there at 8, so they've got a shot. You know, they got to just. It's something that I think they haven't figured out. They've regressed for sure. Like we said, that defense.
Yeah.
Their offense is going to have to carry them. I feel like. I'm not sure that they can do that. They might be able to limp into the playoffs, but I don't think that they're going to make it very far.
Yeah, I agree, and I don't trust them because this is a game they honestly probably should have lost.
Right.
Let's go to Cardinals Patriots. 6-4 Cardinals, 4-6 Patriots. A lot of people are taking the Cardinals here after the Patriots' bad loss to the Texans last week, and sitting at 4-6, you're like, these Patriots just don't have it this year. Well, Cardinals got out to a 10-0 lead. Patriot defense, the old reliable Patriot defense steps up, makes a goal line stand before halftime, so no points. The Patriots end up coming through on a 50-yard game-winning field goal to win 20-17. Dustin, Patriots improved to 5-6, still alive in the playoff hunt. Big win for New England. Do you think they can transfer that energy and maybe get some momentum and start playing better down the stretch?
Yeah, I do. And, I mean, this is about the time where Belichick really, shows how good of a coach he is when his team, December and January is when it all matters. So I feel like they could get, another 3-4 wins, and maybe it'll come down to, like, them needing a team to lose. Like, I hate to say it, but maybe it'll come down to Indianapolis and that game between the Steelers or something late in the season or something. And they just have to keep winning because that division is still there.
Yeah. It's surprisingly tough with Miami's record. Like the Dolphins sitting at 7-4. But, maybe 3 teams get out of that division. You never know. This year is kind of more up for grabs than any other year with the 7 teams getting in, so. Now, let me ask you guys about this. Tell me if you saw this, and tell me what you think of this rule. Because me personally, I fucking hate it. I can't stand this rule. Patriots wide receiver Gunnar Olszewski or something like that. He returns a punt. He's their punt returner. He should have returned it, or returns it for a touchdown. And there was a great block at the end of this return with a guy about to make a tackle on him. And he gets a clutch block, and it was a hard block and knocks him over, goes in for a touchdown, and they throw the flag and say illegal blindside block. And if you watch on replay, the guy that's getting blocked, it's not blindside. You watch on replay, he lowers his shoulder because he sees the contact coming. He tries to hit the guy blocking him, and he gets blown over, but because of the way it looked, they throw the flag. Man, nothing makes my blood boil more than seeing a great block that goes for a punt return touchdown and they call it back. I'm so fucking hate this rule. What do you think, Bret?
Yeah, that was one of the worst calls I've seen in a long time. I was watching that game. It was clean. I mean, he turned around. What else was he supposed to do? If he would have stand there and took a charge, he would have got cremated.
Yeah.
And, that he would have been making himself vulnerable. So he did exactly what you've been taught to do. They don't give the defense enough of, ability to be athletes and make plays. And, as a runner, you know that you're gonna get hit. Like, it's not like he couldn't see him. You know, a blindside block is not being able to be seen. That's the nature of it, and he was right in front of him. It was a nice, clean block. I agree, man. It was a terrible call.
It was textbook. 5 years ago, he would come off the field, and every coach on the team would be patting his helmet, saying, "Hell of a job."
Right.
And my issue with the league right now and the way they're trying to officiate it is they're trying to take violence out of a violent game. They're trying to take contact and physicality out of a contact and physical sport. And man, it pisses me off because he should be rewarded for a play like that, not penalized. And
Absolutely.
it just, God, what do you think, Dustin?
Yeah, I have to agree with you. I mean, a lot of these penalties, these rules, man, they're absolutely nuts. Like the one where it's the spot foul for the
Pass interference.
Yeah, that's just ridiculous. But I mean, yeah, what do they expect you to do? Put a flag around your waist and say, "Catch me if you can"?
Honestly, they wanted him. They wanted that blocker who's got every instinct in him. I'll tell you this: Bill Belichick's the coach of that team. If that guy does what the NFL, the league, tells him he's supposed to do, and steps out of the way and allows that guy to make a tackle, guess what? Bill Belichick's taking him off the field. He's not going to play him. He's like, you don't make that block, you don't play.
Yeah,
So,
that's a big ass chewing.
Yes, and so he makes the play, and they get penalized. And it was funny to see Bill Belichick call during the break after that rule. He gets every single ref over, and he's got the still frame pictures of it, and he's showing each one the picture like, look, like that's clean, that's legit, that's textbook. And it just, man, I don't know what they're doing. Someone in the league office, they need to get the right people making these rules and stop trying to take physicality out of a physical sport. So we could talk for hours on that.
In my opinion, it is, and it always will be until he's gone, Roger Goodell.
Yeah, that and I feel like the people making these rules never played the game, and that needs to be a room full of people, former players, because they understand the game, and they know the risk. And at some point, either we're going to be playing flag football or we're going to be signing waivers so that we can do our damn job.
Yeah, and it works in the NBA. I think their NBA PA is former players and stuff that come up with some of these rules and stuff.
Yeah, they need to fix it. Whatever it is going on, get rid of the goddamn blindside block penalty and get rid of the body weight sack penalty on the quarterback. All right.
Get rid of all of them.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. Dolphins-Jets. Not the best game of the weekend. The Jets get out to a 3-0 lead, but that's all the scoring they would be doing. As the Dolphins score 20 straight and win 20-3. The Dolphins improved to 7-4 with Ryan Fitzpatrick back under center, playing great defense and eyeing the playoffs. Bret, after you remember the talk of when they switched to Tua, and we were kind of pissed off about that. Like, man, Fitzpatrick had been playing well, and Fitzpatrick was mad, and now he's back, and they're playing good football. I kind of feel like they should ride Fitzpatrick the rest of the year. Do you agree?
Yeah, it's Fitzmagic, baby. Let him go.
Yeah.
Let him do his thing.
Tua will get his time. No need to rush it.
Right. He'll be there for a while. Fitzpatrick's doing what you need to do as a franchise. You want to see success within the season. Your fans want to see playoffs, and right now Fitzpatrick gives you that best chance and advantage to go through the playoffs.
And on that note, do you see the Dolphins making the playoffs? They're in a tough division. Can they finish?
Yeah, I think they can. If they stay consistent like this, they've been consistent. They can get to 9 or 10 wins here in the next couple of games maybe. And they'll be right there talking about with a couple of their teams. The way that things finish, there could be several 9-7, 10-6 teams,
Yeah.
which will push them probably all into the playoffs. But I think if they can get to that 9-win mark, I think they'll be all right.
Yeah, I agree. I think the goal needs to be 10 wins, but I agree. I think, a couple 9-7 should make it. One last question on this for the Jets. They fall to 0-11, and seem determined to be, tanking for Trevor Lawrence. They're doing a great job of it. We've seen it twice in recent memory. John Elway refusing to play for the Colts and Eli Manning refusing to play for the Chargers. Do you think that Trevor Lawrence should consider refusing to play for the Jets, ask for a trade, say, I'm never going to play for your franchise? I mean, look at what they did to Sam Darnold. I mean, is he even good? And they're looking to get rid of him already. What do you think?
I mean, would you want to play there?
Fuck no.
So exactly. That's what I think he's going to say. And is he going to come back to Clemson for another year? No. He's going to go and get paid somewhere. He's going to go and play somewhere that's not necessarily a bottom feeder. They're not even – I don't even know what to call them. They're down there.
Yeah.
But it's something that I think, you got to think about. It's for your future too. And if just because he's there and that's where they're going down and they tank this whole time for him, they better hope that he's there. If not, they're gonna have to move on and they're gonna have to make a trade or do something because it can be a huge, like we said, we talked about this. If they continue to tank and he doesn't go there and they can't make a trade out of it, they're screwed.
Yeah, but there is opportunity in this. Even if he doesn't want to play for you, you look at it, Trevor Lawrence is a very highly sought after guy, and you got the Jaguars who need a quarterback and some other teams. Let's say that he doesn't want to play for the Jets. They might be able to get an absolute haul for that number 1 overall pick, and you could trade back, still get a quarterback. It doesn't have to be Trevor Lawrence. Still get a quarterback and get a boatload of assets along with it. What do you think, Dustin? Do you think, the Jets, do you think Trevor Lawrence should be considering that?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. Let's be honest. Let's just throw the whole Jets organization in the trash and never rebuild it again. But, I mean, Trevor Lawrence is that type of guy, though, where he's a leader and he's what would you say, that franchise guy. And I think maybe if he does go to the Jets, he can revive them as they finally have someone, who can take a franchise and turn them around. But that's just my opinion.
As long as Adam Gase is out of there.
Yeah, that's what you have to do. You have to fire Adam Gase and get a decent name head coach.
Yeah, like Eric Bieniemy or something like that. And just because if he doesn't want to play for the Jets, that doesn't make him a bad leader. I mean, Elway was a hell of a leader. Eli turned out to be a hell of a leader. So it's about right fit. And you got to do, everything you can to go to the place where you feel like you're going to have your best chance to succeed. Because a perfect example is Sam Darnold. He was a high prospect, considered possibly going number 1 overall when he came out. He could be a Brown right now, and who knows where his career would be. But
yeah.
All right, let's go Saints Broncos, where Broncos, all 4 of the quarterbacks on the roster ruled out due to being high risk for COVID after Jeff Driscoll tests positive, meaning rookie wide receiver who is a college quarterback, Kendall Hinton, gets the start. He completes 1 pass, so it didn't exactly go too well for him. 2 interceptions, 1 completion. The Saints blow the Broncos out 31-3. Bret, should the NFL have postponed this game? It seems pretty unfair to the Broncos to make them play without a quarterback.
I mean, that's the nature of the game, though, like we've already got too much going on to be able to sit here and just postpone games because it's unfortunate that you're down to your 5th-string quarterback. Yeah, I mean, it's not fun competitive-wise, but, again, that's just, that is the nature of it. You got to have more – I mean, put more practice squad quarterbacks on and call them up.
Yeah.
I mean, it sucks because it's not something, you put him in a position that's not fair to him. You know, he didn't come out there and want to have more interceptions than completions. Like that's
Yeah.
it's unfortunate, but the fact of the matter is, you got to be prepared for shit like this. You knew that it was COVID time, and typically when you have something like this, the whole game's postponed. But now we know.
Yep. And this is my thing. I think it sucks. A lot of Bronco fans and Broncos media were upset because all the quarterbacks got ruled out for being high risk. Were all wearing their masks when they caught on video, but they would lower their masks to talk, and that's why they were deemed high risk. So they were deemed high risk despite wearing masks and doing what they were supposed to do. And that's the thing about this COVID stuff is it seems to be a lot of like, what do you call it? Like it applies here but not here, like a double standard. Like you see it on game day where where coaches and referees are pulling their masks down to talk, and where players are playing without masks on under their helmets. Yeah,
Right.
these guys pull their masks down to talk, and they all get ruled out due to high risk. It seems like a little bit of a double standard.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you agree, Dustin?
Yeah, and I mean, they could have also did a better job with, going out there and finding an actual quarterback. I mean, there are guys that are not currently playing right now.
Yeah.
Even if you had to go out and get like a Nathan Peterman or something. I mean, an actual quarterback who's took reps in the NFL, but they were being lazy about it.
Yeah, and what sucks? What I wanted to see, it's too bad that we couldn't have seen a 60-year-old John Elway for one game.
Oh man, that would have been great.
I know.
But you know what they say. So hopefully they get it figured out, and no more people, less people get, test positive, so we can finish the season out and see good competitive football the rest of the way. Let's go to 49ers Rams. The 49ers surprised the Rams, jump out to a 17-3 lead. The Rams rally to take a 2017 lead, and I think everyone's thinking, here we go. The Rams come back. They're going to finish them off and show they're the better team. But clutch Robbie Gould, good as gold, comes through once again, 42-yard game-winning field goal, and the Niners beat the Rams 23-20. Dustin, were you surprised by this outcome?
Yeah, and I'd like to say let's give credit to the 49ers head coach, man. He's dealing with injuries and what could have been a worse season is now they are in a battle for what could be a playoff spot. So he definitely deserves credit.
Yeah, Kyle Shanahan is, deservedly so. He's like an offensive genius. He finds a way to make it work. He's using Deebo Samuel like crazy and making it work with guys like Nick Mullins and CJ Beathard and these different quarterbacks. So definitely a lot of credit to him. How about the Rams, though? Falling to 7-4. There was a three-way tie for the NFC West, but two teams, the Rams and the Cardinals, fall, and the Seahawks take a one-game lead. Do you think this weekend plays a big part in who comes out of that division? This could be a costly loss for LA, Dustin.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that the division is more than over. It's going to Seattle.
Yeah, I agree. And we'll go to Bret on this one. Jared Goff with 0 touchdowns and 3 turnovers in the game. Jared Goff hasn't been quite as good as people thought he might be, and Sean McVay was making him out to look like. He's kind of struggling of late.
He's been playing like a damn bum.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on, but he's not playing like he wants to win this division and go to the playoffs.
Yeah, been sloppy with the ball and inaccurate at times.
Not consistent, just doesn't seem therapeutic about it, and like there's just something. I mean, obviously, it's a big change for everybody for the year, but this is something that's very evident that he needs to fix if they want any chance of going, further. And yeah, like you guys said, Seattle looks like they're in full control, even though they're only a game ahead now. but nobody else seems consistent. Like they're playing consistent football that they want to. So I'm not
Yeah.
sure what to say.
Yeah, and it goes back a couple of years ago when the Rams were most successful when they had a healthy Todd Gurley. And ever since Gurley's knee injuries and leaving, the Rams offense has been hit and miss. And so it shows the value of a star running back that's healthy and in his prime.
Absolutely.
Let's go Chiefs Bucks. The Chiefs, Tyreek Hill goes absolutely off for 203 yards and 2 touchdowns in the first quarter. Chiefs jump out to a 17-0 lead. Just torching my guy Carlton Davis off the bat. And go to show you, I mean, Patrick Mahomes is surgical with his arm accuracy. And Carlton Davis was messing up a little bit too, but if you put the ball in a perfect pass beats perfect coverage. So Mahomes is balling. They get out to a 17-0 lead. The Bucks rally to 27-24, but the defense can't get off the field. And the last 2 weeks, Dustin, Patrick Mahomes has been clutch as hell, coming through with the game-winning drive against the Raiders, and then not even letting Tom Brady back on the field, just running out the clock with clutch completions and just doing his, he's playing that quarterback position better than almost anyone, that we've ever seen at this moment.
Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, this man is straight balling, and to me, he's damn near almost unstoppable. I mean,
Yeah.
you have to have an A defense to stop this man, and it's
Yeah.
the weapons he has. Even though his receiver didn't think he was going to be good, but anyway,
I saw that too. Yeah.
Yeah, he's just he's incredible, and it's going to be hard to ever see anybody top his game.
You know what it reminds me of a little bit is prime Greatest Show on Turf. Those Rams teams with Marshall Faulk, Terry Holt, Isaac Bruce, and Kurt Warner out of nowhere.
Absolutely. And I just have one more thing to say.
Yeah.
Bruce Arians needs to shut his mouth before he completely loses Tom Brady.
Yeah, and he's trying to make Tom Brady do shit that he's not used to doing. I would build my system around my GOAT quarterback, despite who cares about his age. Build the system around, build the offense around your quarterback, and he seems to be trying to make Tom Brady. He's doing what Matt Nagy's doing, trying to make players adjust to his system instead of adjusting his system to his players. What do you think, Bret?
Yeah. No, he's putting too much out there, and it's something that needs to be kept under the radar more if they're going to be doing that shit.
Yeah.
And Brady isn't going to stand for that. He's not going to want that. So, you got to know who you're working with, who your personnel is. Just like I said the other day, there's levels to this shit, so you got to understand it. And if you can't do that as a coach and have that connection, you're not going to have success in the long run.
Now, let's go back to free agency and the draft and preseason. The Bucks have been the heavy favorite all offseason. You look at that roster; it's absolutely loaded. They fall to 7-5 and need to get going before the playoffs arrive. Too inconsistent at this point. Do you think the Bucks get it going in time for the win or go home games?
I think if Brady's able to do what he's able to do, then yeah, I think that they've shown a little bit of bounce back, even though they got crushed by the Saints.
Yeah.
But it's something that it's Tom Brady. This defense is loaded. This defensive line is unreal.
Yeah.
And like they got good receivers. I know I was drilling you the other day, texting you about the about Davis, but I was just messing. They're still consistent. They're still good. They got a defense that can keep you in the game. And whenever you have Tom Brady, you're never in doubt.
Yeah. What do you think, Dustin? 7-5 isn't what we expected from this Bucks team. You think they'll get it going at some point?
I do. I mean, it's Tom Brady we're talking about, and with all those weapons, they'll get into a wild card spot. But like I said, Bruce Arians has to start taking responsibility for himself and quit blaming his players, because if he doesn't stop that, he's going to lose his locker room quick.
I agree, 100%. He needs to do a better job. The players need to be held accountable, but Bruce Arians needs to look in the mirror and hold himself accountable as well. Let's go to my game, Sunday Night Football. I was hyped for this game. I was so pumped. I was happy to have Trubisky back starting. I was happy for the opportunity to play on national TV against our hated rivals, and if we could just find a way to steal a win, one of those games where if you could just steal it and then get to 6-5, drop the Packers down to 7-4, and everything's up there for grabs still. But for whatever reason, Matt Nagy, you give him more time to prepare. We had a bye week to prepare for this game. You give Matt Nagy more time to prepare, and we look worse. For whatever reason, he sucks. And for whatever reason, our defense let us down in this game. But it wasn't just that. I mean, our defense definitely let us down, but our offense wasn't great either. And missed opportunities early. The Packers, they drive down and score on us right off the bat. But then the Bears have a big run. It sets up 1st and goal. Trubisky hits 2 receivers in the hands for a touchdown, and neither can finish the play. Neither can hang on to the ball. We have to settle for 3. 6-3. Defense can't make a stop. Suddenly we're down 13-3. That was pissing me off. And then the next drive, the Bears are moving it. They're moving down the field. Trubisky's making some nice throws. We're moving the ball. And then Nagy decides to call a shot play, a play-action deep shot play. This pisses me off because it's too greedy. It's too aggressive. And what have we been saying about Mitch Trubisky his entire career? He's not a great deep ball thrower. He is so much better in short to intermediate passes. So run short to intermediate and run the ball and play defense. But instead, Nagy calls for a deep shot. Trubisky doesn't go off of it. He throws it anyway in a double coverage, and we get picked off in the end zone. Then how about this play? Trubisky gets face masked twice on a sack, which results in him fumbling the ball, and Preston Smith picks it up and goes in for a touchdown. Aaron Rodgers gets a ticky-tack, shove, roughing the passer call to keep their drive alive, but Trubisky gets face masked twice, and we can't get a flag. Home field Packer, officiating strikes again. Brett, I know you're familiar with this. Why does this always seem to happen to the Packers? They get every single call to go their way.
I don't know, man, but we could sit here for hours and talk about the bullshit that they messed up in Lions-Packers games. Packers fans, if you're out there, I don't want to hear it. Fuck you. You understand and know the situation that's going on right now. We're all sitting here talking and thinking about – we could think about 1,000 plays right now off the top of our head.
Yeah, we really could.
And it's just – it's oh, man. I don't even want to begin. I know that it's frustrating, infuriating, because a couple years ago when he got that little tiny face mask across the hands from Fairley, or hands across the face mask, they got that replay. He threw the Hail Mary, the Packers won and beat the Lions. That should have been called in this game on Trubisky. It should have been called that way, and it never gets called against the Packers. It's unreal. I don't even, debate me about it, because I'll go on all day about this.
Well, and this leads me, and Troy Aikman mentioned this in the Washington Cowboys game. I've been saying this all year. You guys have heard me say it, and Troy Aikman agreed with me on the broadcast that we need to make everything reviewable. We need to be able to review everything, and I'm talking officiating too, because we got to get rid of this, oh, they called it, or oh, they didn't call it, and there's nothing we can do. We got to get the fucking calls right. I'm sorry, and I'm tired of this bullshit. I'm tired of the Packers getting every single call. I'm tired of, Tom Brady used to get every single call. and still does sometimes. I'm tired of the superstar calls, and Patrick Mahomes gets them, Lamar Jackson gets them, and I want to see the calls get made right. I don't care if it results in a longer game. I want the calls to be right. If we could throw the challenge flag, it's obvious to everyone watching at home on TV and everyone in the stadium that there's two face masks there. And because we can't review it, Bears fans just got to sit there and take it. A fumble return for a touchdown, and we're down 27-3 on bullshit. And I was mad. And I'm not going to – the officiating is not the reason we lost this game. But we got to make everything reviewable. So that's my point on that. The reason we lost this game is because we did not show up. We had a bye week to prepare to play the effing Packers, our hated rival. Bears-Packers is supposed to be respected. It's supposed to be the greatest rivalry in football. And yet we can't show up and we get our doors blown off in a must-win game with the season on the line. F you, Matt Nagy. F you, Ryan Pace. Get the hell out. Don't let the door hit you on the ass on the way out. Get the fuck out.
He said it's done.
Done. Get out. I am 100. I said 3 weeks ago I was 100% done with Matt Nagy. What am I supposed to say now after that performance? Get the F out. I'm done. Trubisky's not the answer either. I'm done. I'm not defending him anymore. You throw in the double coverage. You throw in the triple coverage. That was your opportunity to play the game of your life and beat your rival and get the entire city who was ready to embrace you in that game on national TV, on prime time, and beat your rival. And it wasn't even competitive. It was over at halftime. I'm sitting there watching it with a Packers fan, who I'm good friends with, Josh, and I was pissed, man.
Despicable.
And yeah. Go ahead, Dustin.
But Alex, they've had, Trestman and then Nagy. What next? Who do you think can actually turn that franchise around? Because they're not in a good place.
Well, and I'm fine with that, and I'm here to admit that. I don't care. Like, all I want is competent. All I want is competitive. That's all I'm asking for. I know this Bears team isn't that good. We've never been good on offense. Mark Trestman had us good for 1 year, and then we were a laughingstock, and Trestman got fired because he sucked that next year. And Trestman's thing was couldn't win the big game either. And Nagy, and I never thought I would say this. Rewind 5 years ago, I never thought I would say this. But Matt Nagy is worse than Mark Trestman. As a coach, as a play caller, as a leader of men. Get the hell out. And let's get anybody else in here that can at least make us competitive. And it starts with drafting a quarterback. We got to get a quarterback. We got to hit on one. I hope that Zach Wilson falls a little bit and we can trade up to draft him, the BYU quarterback. That's who I got my eyes on. He might be out of reach because the sad thing is we're probably going to win a game or two here before the season's over and finish with 6 or 7 wins and be middle of the pack draft and be a little bit too far away from Zach Wilson. But that's what I want. He's got a little Jim McMahon to him. He just went to, I forget what he went to, but he had 2 chicks kissing him on the cheek like he was a pimp. I want him as my quarterback. He's got swag. He's got the deep ball. Huh?
Oh, geez. He's a pimp now, huh?
Him over Mac Jones?
I don't mind Mac Jones. I'm at a loss right now because I don't know what's going to fix it. And it starts with fire Ryan Pace, fire Matt Nagy, if possible, fire Ted Phillips, get all the high-ranking pieces of shit out of Hallis Hall and get some people in who know what they can do.
Damn, bro, you are pissed off.
Dude, I was silent. I wasn't even talking shit Sunday night. I was silent. I was embarrassed. I was sad. I was furious on the inside. I didn't know what to do or say, and I saved it all for right now because I'm done. I'm done.
Let it out, son. Let it out.
Now, Bears Lions on Sunday. And I know I'm saying I'm done, but I'm going to be wearing my Bears jersey rooting for the sweep of the Lions. And there's pride on this. I know you're going to be watching saying, Patricia and Quinn are gone, but we can't lose. We can't get swept by the Bears. We got to end this 5-game losing streak against them. So there's a lot of pride on the line on Sunday. I'm going to take my shots. What else do we have? What else do we have going for us?
It's going down.
Oh, yeah, it is. It's going to be a fun game. Throw out the records. Whenever Bears and Lions get together, it's a lot of fun and a lot on the line. What do you guys think of my rant? Am I over the top or am I justified?
Yeah, you are definitely justified. You're a frustrated diehard fan who has been going through a lot these last, decade.
Couple years. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I say even a decade. I mean,
honestly, we thought it couldn't get much worse on offense than John Fox era. Oh, Matt Nagy's era. This is worse.
But I mean, what do you think can fix the offense, though? I mean, if you have 3 head coaches and they can't fix the offense, what's going on?
The right quarterback. Cutler was turnover prone. I mean, he's the best thing we've had since in forever, since Sid Luckman, to be honest. I mean, maybe Jim McMahon. But the Bears win with defense and running the ball. And where we fucked up is we quit running the ball. We traded away Jordan Howard, who I know he's not as good now, but Jordan Howard at the time was a beast for us. And we had that identity where we ground and pound, we run the ball and play defense. The last couple of years of Matt Nagy, we haven't had a running game, and he refused to call the running game, and that was my concern when we hired him because of what he did in Kansas City. The reason that they lost that, the Chiefs were up 18 on the Titans in the playoff game. Matt Nagy was calling plays, refused to run the ball the entire second half, and blew an 18-point lead to Marcus Mariota and the Titans.
Yeah.
That's what we were getting with Matt Nagy. Yeah.
With a lot of head coaches, they go away from what is working and what their franchise is built on. Like, it's just ego at the end of the day. Like,
it 100% is. That's what Chad Brown said. Ego is holding back Matt Nagy. And you make a good point because the passing game is sexy. The passing game is what these guys all the praise goes to the passing game. That's why Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, these guys get so much praise. Josh McDaniels, etc., because of the passing game. It's not the running game is just ground and pound. It's ugly. It's not sexy at all. The passing game. That's why nobody picks the Titans in the playoffs and shit. They'd rather pick Mahomes and they'd rather pick, whatever. But John Harbaugh and what the Ravens did last year shows what you can do with the running game and defense. And you lose your identity. That's one thing with Matt Nagy is we didn't have an identity on offense. And, that's what you get. You get this. Trubisky isn't the answer. Nick Foles wasn't the answer. It starts with a quarterback that you can believe in and the defense can believe in. The defense, as you saw against Green Bay, the defense kind of gives up when they don't believe that the offense can come back,
Yeah, and okay, let's say Nagy does come back and they do draft somebody like Zach Wilson. Do you think he can develop him?
No, hell no. Matt Nagy's one job when we hired him, he had one effing job, and that was to develop and get the most out of Mitch Trubisky. And I think we can all sit here and say he failed miserably.
Absolutely.
So
keep him.
Dude, Dustin, if Matt Nagy returns, I won't watch a Bears game next year.
Come on, bro. You have to still believe.
No. If Matt Nagy returns, I'm done. I'm done now. I'm going to watch, It takes a lot for me to quit. With the last game that Mark Trestman was a Bears coach, I didn't watch because I said I will not support this trash, this garbage. And if Matt Nagy returns, which he won't, he's gone. He's fired. And so we'll see on Ryan Pace, the GM, which he should be gone too. But, you know, where does this all start? Where does this all go back to? Ryan Pace trading up to draft Mitch Trubisky is talked about nonstop when he could have had Deshaun Watson or Patrick Mahomes. If we had either of those two quarterbacks, we would be in a much better place right now.
Absolutely, no doubt.
Look at what Deshaun Watson is doing with nothing around him. 16 touchdowns and no turnovers the last 6 games. If we had that, we would be great right now. So I could talk about this forever. I'm going to spare you guys because it's frustrating and it is whatever. But fire Nagy, fire Pace, and get a quarterback.
I got all night, bro. This was actually a very good subject. So
yeah, it's fun, but that game on Sunday night was not. Let's move on. Let's go to Monday Night Football. Eagles-Seahawks was a good game. Eagles just don't really have enough. Seahawks win 23-17. Pre-game, me and Bret talked a little bit about this. Pre-game, Eagles defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz, former Lions head coach, goes up to DK Metcalf and says, he coached Calvin Johnson. He says, "You're not quite Calvin Johnson yet." He's like, "You're good, but you're not quite Megatron." And it pissed him off. He went a little Jordan-esque, and that that fired me up. That motivated me. Metcalf goes off for a career high 177 yards receiving, and the Seahawks get the win. What do you think of that, Bret? DK Metcalf having a career night on Monday night against Darius Slay too, who's a pretty damn good corner. Go ahead, Dustin.
Yeah, that's what you get for telling somebody they're not as good as somebody that you coached in the past. And DK Metcalf is, in my opinion, the best receiver in football and just unstoppable. And Seattle can go far as long as he continues catching balls for them.
Yeah, I agree. And Darius Slay is no slouch. But it was great balls from Russell Wilson, great catches by DK, and he was obviously fired up. Tell me what you think of this, Dustin. Is it time? Do you think it's time for the Eagles to bench Carson Wentz and maybe see if the rookie Jalen Hurts can provide a spark? Because whatever Carson Wentz has been doing isn't working.
See, this is a touchy subject because I'm a Carson Wentz guy and I believe in him, but at the same time, he's having the worst season of his career. But the Eagles just aren't very good anyways. He has nobody to throw to, and I don't know. I'd say I don't know, man. I'm being honest.
Well, I think that you can get more. I think from what I've seen, Carson Wentz has been inaccurate. He's been making bad decisions. He's been forcing the ball into coverage. And I think it all stems from a lack of confidence. And it happens with quarterbacks. It happens with any quarterback. You can have a lack of confidence creep in and it affect your play. And I think that's what we're dealing with. And I absolutely would make the move. It doesn't have to be forever. Make the move to Jalen Hurts, see if he can provide a spark. If he can't, we'll go back to Carson Wentz. And maybe Carson Wentz getting benched will put a fire under his ass, and he can get back his groove. But whatever is happening right now isn't working. Bret, we lost you for a second. Are you back?
Yeah.
All right. Let me ask you this. I talked to Dustin about this. The DK Metcalf being told you're not Calvin Johnson by Jim Schwartz pissed him off. He goes off for a career high 177 against a damn good corner in Darius Slay. What do you think?
Yeah, that's a statement right there. I mean, you get told something like that. That's obviously where you want to be. He's not there yet. It's true.
but it's something that you want to have. You want to see that kind of motivation being built, a fire being built up in a player like that, to see that character and that caliber talent come out and to perform like that after that kind of statement really should give fans a lot of it should make a lot of fans happy, to see what kind of player you're going to have for your future.
Yeah. And what do you think of DK overall? No, let's not compare him to Calvin Johnson. Let's just look at the guy. He fell in the second round. A lot of teams could have had him. He could be wearing a Packer jersey right now easily. That's where I mocked him to go. Thank Christ he's not on the Packers. He's a monster. How do you defend this guy?
I don't know. You have to, I think you have to go man, and you have to put your best matchup man-wise up against him no matter what it is. If not, then you're going to have to go into some kind of floating zone towards him to jam up whatever it is. And then if you have him coming across the field, you have that linebacker, that safety float, whatever it is. But I think, I don't know, he's an athlete, and it's something that it's going to be on the minds of defensive coordinators, and it's going to be upsetting and aggravating. So something they're going to have to figure out.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's shocking that Ole Miss had both DK Metcalf and A.J. Brown and didn't do much with it.
Right.
And then one more question for you that I just asked Dustin. Carson Wentz has been struggling. Do you think the Eagles should consider going to rookie quarterback Jalen Hurts for a spark?
I don't know, man. With the way that division's going, you got to do something. So, I mean, if you're staying this close in contention with it now, I mean, you would typically think, though, in a regular league or in a regular year, you wouldn't be anywhere near it. So why not,
Yeah.
Go see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. I'm calling for it. I think they should go Jalen Hurts. Whatever's going on right now isn't working. But the good news is the division's still up for grabs. Let's go Go ahead.
Do you think Peterson makes it to next season, or is he gone too?
That's a tough call because he's a former Super Bowl winning head coach. I think they're going to have a lot more patience with him. So I do think he returns. I don't think he gets fired. Although I do put a lot on him. I think that he's been struggling. He's been doing, he's another one of those analytics guys who likes to go for two for no reason and all this shit and be super aggressive and go for it on fourth down all the time. I think he's hurting the offense some, absolutely. But Carson Wentz is – go ahead. What was that?
I hate analytics.
Yeah, I posted a thing this week that said analytics is a tool. It's not the toolbox. It's a tool. It's not meant to replace everything. It's meant to be something to consider, but also use common sense. And I think common sense should be the most used thing, for a head coach. Just, play it smart. Don't be super aggressive when there's no need to be. I think the game is a lot about adjustments and patience and just – what do you say?
Letting the game come to you.
Yeah. Don't force it. Don't be Mike McCarthy going for it on your own 26 every game, But let's go to Wednesday afternoon. We don't get to talk about a Wednesday afternoon too often, but we had a game today. The Ravens and the Steelers. RG3 got a test, got a start, throwing it back to 2012 or 2013. 2012. RG3 starting for the Ravens. He didn't do very well. The Steelers pretty much controlled this game. It was interesting at the end, but it was an easier win than the score indicates. The Steelers improved to 11-0. And the Ravens fall to 6-5. They're going to get Lamar Jackson back, but a tough week for the Ravens with COVID. Bret, the Ravens, after going 14-2 last year, sitting at 6-5, third place in the AFC North. You think they can still find a way to make the playoffs and get it going at some point?
I don't know. This is another one of those shaky ones like we were talking about.
Yeah.
Patriots and with the Raiders. They're gonna, they're right there in games. They're right there against Pittsburgh right here. Obviously, down some personnel. It's still the NFL. You're going to play. You're going to compete. But I think if they can get Jackson back and pull off a couple wins here in the next couple weeks, obviously, they'll give themselves a chance. But I don't know if it's going to be consistent enough like it was last year. They've regressed a lot, so I'm not confident. As in, I would bet money on it.
And something not to forget, even as dominant and as good as the Ravens did look last year and even 2 years ago, they never won a playoff game. And so even if they sneak in, no, I'm not picking them to win a playoff game. And I do think they get in. They play – so they got Dallas at home. That's a win, 7-5. At Cleveland, I think that's a win. It's going to be a tough game. I think that's a win, 8-5. Home against Jacksonville, home against the Giants, and at the Bengals. I see no reason why the Ravens can't finish 10-6. Do you agree, Dustin?
Yeah, 10-6. I was gonna say 11-5 because
you think they win out though?
Yeah,
they could.
I'm a little rocky about that Browns game.
Yeah, I agree.
I still don't trust Baker Mayfield. So,
yeah.
I think they're gonna go 11-5 and get in, but a wild card and struggle, especially if they have to come up against a team like the Bills.
Yeah.
Or, Indianapolis or even Miami if they get in. So it's going to be a tough road for them.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think I agree. I think they do make the playoffs. I think they go 10-6 at worst, 9-7, but I think they get in. And no, I'm not picking them to win a playoff game. They got to prove it to me first. And the issue isn't the Ravens as a whole. It's Lamar Jackson turning the ball over too much in the playoffs. You look at his stats in the playoffs, they're bad.
He can't throw, man, and that's always going to be what holds him back.
Yeah, the defense is like take away his run game in the playoffs and make him beat him with the arm, and it just doesn't work. So, it is what it is. But, man, that was a great episode. You guys brought it. I brought it. We had a lot of fire and a fun week of football, a lot of great action, and I can't wait for week 13.
Oh, yeah. Go Lions.
Go Bears. I can't wait for that game. That's going to be a fun game. Even though we're both going to miss the playoffs, that'll be a fun game. That'll probably be the last game that's, truly meaningful,
It is the playoffs for us.
Yeah.
I'll still talk to you guys in January when we're in the divisional round. Don't worry.
All right. Get out of here, Dustin.
We'll be on the couch a week later.
At least one of us gets to watch their team in the playoffs. But we cover the whole league, so it doesn't matter if our teams are good or not. We're going to be watching, and it's still going to be a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Appreciate you guys coming on. You guys brought it. Thanks for getting back on. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment. I appreciate all the support. Let's get the subscribers up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit a like. Leave a comment. Tell us where we're wrong. And we'll keep these episodes coming out. Got a couple interviews coming up in December, player interviews, so stay tuned for those as well. Appreciate the support, and have a great week, guys. Peace out.